Let's explore vivid proofs of human engineering prowess on the ocean, from size and tonnage to the extraordinary transport capabilities of ships. Let's count down the 15 most oversized fat ships. Number 15, Pioneering Spirit. If you think nothing can lift an entire oil rig in one go, take a look at Pioneering Spirit, the ship that turns the impossible into reality. Pioneering Spirit is 1,253 feet long and 407 feet wide. So massive it could swallow a whole American football field on its deck and still have room to spare. It doesn't carry cargo or crude oil, but performs special missions in a single lift. The ship can hoist the entire top section of an oil rig, weighing tens of thousands of tons off the sea surface. Something that used to take months, dozens of cranes, and countless workers. This power comes from its unique catamaran design, a massive computer-synchronized hydraulic system, and 12 azimuth thrusters for precise control without anchors. At maximum capacity, Pioneering Spirit can lift 52,910 short tons, even amid big waves. The ship also installs and transports the longest and heaviest undersea pipelines in history, from the North Sea to the Baltic, including the infamous Nord Stream 2 project. Inside the ship are amenities for over 570 crew members, with state-of-the-art control rooms, satellite communications, kitchens, gyms, and more, plus backup systems to ensure continuous operation in any conditions. Pioneering Spirit isn't just a heavy-lift vessel, it's a symbol of the future of sustainable energy, where the U.S. leads with offshore rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. But the world competes with advanced technology. (13) TI-class supertankers. One of the world's rarest giant supertankers is the TI class, including TI Africa, TI Asia, TI Europe, and TI Oceania. Launched from 2002 to 2003 in South Korea by Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering, and originally owned by the Helens Bond Group. Later, some were sold, renamed, and continued operations. 3 became FSOs, massive floating storage units anchored offshore, while TI Oceania still transports crude oil as originally intended. The TI-class ships are ULCCs, ultra-large crude carriers, with sizes beyond industry norms. They're 1,247 feet long, nearly as tall as the Empire State Building, and 223 feet wide, with a deadweight tonnage up to 486,100 short tons, carrying enough oil to fill Niagara Falls in an hour of flow. When fully loaded, the draft reaches 79 feet, too deep for the Suez or Panama canals, forcing them to use wide sea routes and deep anchorages, often hauling oil from the Persian Gulf to Asia or Europe. Each trip carries over 3 million barrels of crude oil, equivalent to a full day's output from Kuwait or the UAE, turning them into mobile energy reserves with global influence. The TI class's strength isn't just in size, but in advanced technology and design. Each has a double hull to reduce spill risks, inert gas systems to prevent explosions, modern radar and navigation. (13) TI-class supertankers. One of the world's rarest giant supertankers is the TI class, including TI Africa, TI Asia, TI Europe, and TI Oceania. Launched from 2002, 2003 in South Korea by Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering, and originally owned by the Helens Bond Group. Later, some were sold, renamed, and continued operations. 3 became FSOs, massive floating storage units anchored offshore, while TI Oceania still transports crude oil as originally intended. The TI-class ships are ULCCs, ultra-large crude carriers, with sizes beyond industry norms. They're 1,247 feet long, nearly as tall as the Empire State Building, and 223 feet wide, with a deadweight tonnage up to 486,100 short tons, carrying enough oil to fill Niagara Falls in an hour of flow. When fully loaded, the draft reaches 79 feet, too deep for the Suez or Panama canals, forcing them to use wide sea routes and deep anchorages, often hauling oil from the Persian Gulf to Asia or Europe. Each trip carries over 3 million barrels of crude oil, equivalent to a full day's output from Kuwait or the UAE, turning them into mobile energy reserves with global influence. The TI class's strength isn't just in size, but in advanced technology and design. Each has a double hull to reduce spill risks, inert gas systems to prevent explosions, modern radar and navigation, plus high-capacity pumps that can unload millions of barrels in hours. Diesel engines produce over 5,000 horsepower, driving a single propeller the size of a multi-story building, moving the ship at about 16 knots. At 1247 feet long, the TI class is nearly 4 times the height of the Statue of Liberty, helping visualize their enormous scale. These ships are both transport vessels and strategic energy storage, able to anchor offshore like fortresses or haul crude through key sea routes, playing a vital role in the global energy supply chain. Ory Brazil Valemax class. Ory Brazil, the pride of the Valemax class, is one of the world's largest dry bulk carriers. At 1,188 feet long, 213 feet wide, with a 75-foot draft and 441,000 short-ton deadweight. This ship can hold about 7,770,000 cubic feet of dry bulk, equivalent to 11,150 fully loaded dump trucks of ore. Ory Brazil is designed to transport iron ore from Brazil to strategic ports in Europe and Asia, optimizing shipping costs and setting new standards for bulk carrier capacity. Part of Vale's Valemax fleet, Ory Brazil meets Chinamax standards, fitting the draft and beam limits of the world's deepest ports, with capacities from 419,000 to 441 short tons. The Valemax class surpasses predecessors like Burj Stahl to become the largest dry bulk carriers by DWT and overall length. Each Ory Brazil shipment carries enough ore to supply an entire nation's steel industry, ensuring safety and efficiency. The cargo holds are vast and deep, allowing hundreds of thousands of tons of ore to be unloaded in hours. Powerful diesel engines keep the ship steady at about 15 knots, crossing ocean routes thousands of miles long. At 1,188 feet long, Ory Brazil is 7 times the height of the Statue of Liberty, helping visualize the ship's colossal scale. Since the first Valemax ship, Vale Brazil, was delivered in 2011, the fleet has grown rapidly to 68 vessels by 2020. Ory Brazil symbolizes the key role of iron ore and steel, the backbone of industrial economies, as important as U.S. China trade in shaping global balances. MSC Arena. MSC Arena is the world's largest capacity container ship, nearly 1,312 feet long and over 200 feet wide. It can carry up to 24,346 TEUs, equivalent to about 200 freight trains, transporting products from Asia to Europe in a single voyage. MSC Arena represents the enormous scale of modern container shipping and cutting-edge maritime engineering. Launched in 2023 at the Jiangsu Yangzijiang shipyard in China, MSC Arena leads the Arena class. Its design optimizes performance and the environment. A large diameter propeller for powerful thrust, air bubble systems to reduce water friction, and hybrid exhaust scrubbers that cut CO2 emissions by 3 to 4%. With a gross tonnage of 233,328 GT, every detail focuses on fuel efficiency and maximum capacity. Containers on MSC Arena are stacked high and long to the bow, creating the image of a mobile city at sea. When leaving port, powerful diesel engines push the hundreds of thousands of tons steel behemoth through big waves at a steady speed. At nearly 1,312 feet long, MSC Arena is over 7 times the height of the Statue of Liberty, helping visualize the ship's enormous scale compared to famous landmarks. It's vivid proof of modern container shipping's transport capacity and global influence. 10. Prelude FLNG. One of the most vivid proofs of humanity's ability to conquer the seas is the largest floating structure ever built. Prelude FLNG, located off Western Australia, over 250 miles from shore. This ship is 1,601 feet long, 243 feet wide, and at full load weighs up to 661,400 short tons, 6 times heavier than a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. Yet it floats steadily in rough seas. Prelude FLNG is like a mobile factory at sea, extracting, processing, and storing liquefied natural gas (LNG). As oil depletes and pressures the environment, LNG becomes a key alternative energy solution, ensuring global supply and reducing reliance on traditional oil. Prelude FLNG was commissioned by Shell and built by Samsung Heavy Industries in South Korea, launched in 2013 and deployed to the Browse Basin in 2017 to tap gas from the Prelude and Concerto fields. On deck are 7 massive LNG tanks, each nearly the size of an Olympic swimming pool, plus processing modules over 55,100 short tons, cryogenic pumps, and a turret mooring system for continuous offshore operations. Annually, Prelude can produce 3.6 million short tons of LNG, 1.3 million short tons of condensate, and 4 million short tons of LPG, enough to heat all of New York through winter, all processed directly on board without onshore plants. The ship supports living for 150 people with cabins, kitchens, recreation areas, and medical facilities, operating continuously with a projected 25-year lifespan. From a global view, the TI class stabilizes oil supplies amid the Ukraine crisis. And in the U.S., they support Middle East oil imports to keep gas prices steady for millions of California drivers. This is proof of deep-sea extraction capabilities, massive energy management, and industrial ambitions beyond ordinary limits. Number 9. Ever Alot. Ever Alot is one of the world's largest container ships, part of the Evergreen A class. Launched in 2022, the ship is nearly 1,312 feet long, 202 feet wide, and has a 56-foot draft, equivalent to 4 football fields lined up end-to-end. Flying the Panamanian flag and operated by Evergreen Marine Taiwan, Ever Alot acts as a mobile floating city, specializing in international sea routes from Asia to Europe via the Suez Canal. Ever Alot has a capacity of up to 24,004 TEUs, 20-foot containers, with a deadweight tonnage of 248,000 short tons and a deck area of 258,333 square feet. The containers alone equal thousands of fully loaded trucks, including electronics, clothing, food, and more. When docking, massive cranes on Ever Alot's deck work non-stop to unload, showcasing the scale of shipping and economic importance it brings. With optimized engines and design, Ever Alot glides smoothly across oceans, through busy seas and big waves, despite hundreds of thousands of tons. Ever Alot isn't just transport, it's proof of building and controlling steel monsters at sea, shaping global trade and ushering in a new era for mega container ships. Eight. Wonder of the Seas by Royal Caribbean. If it were you, would you choose a vacation at a 5-star hotel or board Wonder of the Seas, an 18-story floating hotel? Wonder of the Seas by Royal Caribbean International is the world's largest cruise ship, a symbol of technology and luxury on the ocean. At 1,188 feet long, 210 feet wide, and over 260,000 short tons, the ship can carry more than 9,200 people, including 7,000 passengers and 2,300 crew, exceeding the population of many small towns. Built in France and setting sail in 2022, Wonder of the Seas is the 5th in the Oasis class, but its size and amenities elevate cruise tourism to new standards of scale and experience. On deck, Wonder of the Seas is like a full-fledged floating city, The 18-story ship is divided into zones. Central Park with lush greenery and over 20,000 plants for scenic walks. Luxury suite neighborhoods with private pools and restaurants. Boardwalks with carousels. Water parks. Ice skating rinks. 10-story zip lines. Movie theaters. Laser tag arenas. Escape rooms. And over 20 restaurants and bars offering cuisine from Europe to Asia. Every detail turns the ship into a mobile resort where all passenger needs are met. Operating Wonder of the Seas requires advanced tech. 6 diesel engines produce over 96,000 kW total, combined with 3 propulsion systems for flexible maneuvering, despite the massive weight. Dynamic positioning systems keep the ship stationary in open ocean without anchors, ensuring safety and convenience for leisure activities. Compared to the USS Gerald R Ford representing you, so with military might and protecting global sea lanes, Wonder of the Seas will bring you tourism to the world starting from Florida voyages. 7. Seawise Giant. If you think ships typically can't survive bombs and bullets, hear the story of Seawise Giant. Imagined as a giant sea creature, it's 1,504 feet long, taller than the Empire State Building. Built in 1979 at Sumitomo Heavy Industries shipyard in Japan, Seawise Giant had a deadweight tonnage of 623,000 short tons and a full load displacement of 724,000 short tons. Enough to carry over 4 million barrels of crude oil, fuel to sustain a small country for months. The ship's Lungstrom turbine engine allowed a top speed of 16.5 knots, but due to its huge size, Seawise Giant needed about 1.86 miles to turn around. The ship's size limited operations. It was too big for the Suez or Panama canals, restricting it to open sea routes. During its service, Seawise Giant was attacked in the 1988 Iran-Iraq War with Exocet missiles, causing it to sink. It was later salvaged in Singapore, reinforced with over 4,080 short tons of steel, and continued hauling oil under names like Happy Giant, Jar Viking, and Knock Nevis. The ship specialized in oil from the Middle East to Europe in the U.S., with each cargo holding immense economic value. After retiring from transport, Seawise Giant served as a floating storage in Qatar before being scrapped in 2010. Its 40 short-ton anchor is now displayed at the Hong Kong Maritime Museum. Proof of the ship's extraordinary size and engineering strength, Seawise Giant remains an icon of building massive ocean machines and a key part of global oil shipping history. No. 6. CMA CGM Jac. Can you guess the pride of French shipping giant CMA CGM? It's CMA CGM Jac, the planet's largest liquefied natural gas LNG-powered container ship. Launched in 2020 at China's State Shipbuilding Corporation, it's named after the group's late founder, Jacques Sade. Jacques Sade is the first of 9 sister ships, all using LNG instead of traditional heavy fuel oil to reduce environmental impact in maritime transport. The ship is 1,312 feet long, 202 feet wide, and has a nearly 52-foot draft when fully loaded, only docking at deep-water ports like Rotterdam, Hamburg, or Singapore. The deck stacks 24 rows of containers 9 tiers high, plus more below, showing massive cargo capacity. Jacques Sade's dual-fuel engines allow LNG or traditional fuel, but mainly run on LNG, cutting sulfur dioxide by 99%, fine particles by 91%, and CO2 by 20% compared to heavy oil container ships. LNG is stored in tanks at -260 degrees Fahrenheit, keeping it liquid and providing steady power for long voyages. With full automation, the ship needs only about 25 crew to operate, including precise GPS navigation, real-time cargo monitoring, weather-based routing, and optimized energy management. Jacques Sade combines large-scale transport with eco-friendliness, paving a new path for maritime shipping and future mega container ships. Five, Pierre Giamat. Have you ever wondered if a tanker 1,358 feet long as wide as a football field, and carrying over 3.7 million barrels of oil, enough to fill thousands of Olympic pools, could glide across the ocean with power that intimidates every port. That's Pierre Giamat, built in 1977 at Chantier de l'Atlantique in Saint-Nazaire, France, named after politician and Elf Aquitaine oil founder Pierre Giamat. It's 358 feet long, football field wide, and carries over 3.7 million barrels of crude, with a DWT of 612,000 short tons and GT of 274,838, second only to Seawise Giant in tonnage. The ship's main role was hauling crude from the Middle East to Europe. Two Stahl-Laval turbines at 65,000 horsepower allowed 16.7 knots, consuming about 364 short tons of heavy fuel daily, enough for 42-day voyages. However, its huge size and 94-foot draft limited it to deep ports like Antifer or Europort, unable to transit the Panama or Suez canals. This restricted operations and raised costs, often requiring offshore anchoring or lightering to smaller ships. Pierre Giamat operated just 6 years before decommissioning in 1983 due to the early 1980s tanker market crash. It was sold to Hyundai and scrapped in Ulsan, South Korea. Despite its short life, Pierre Giamat is an engineering marvel, showing breakthroughs in supertanker design and challenging physical limits of maritime transport. And the question lingers over the ocean. In the future, can we create fat ships that overcome all constraints? Or will massive size forever be a double-edged sword for shipping? A 4 USS Gerald R Ford. You're looking at a massive steel block, 1,106 feet long, nearly 110,000 short tons, big enough for a full fighter squadron. That's USS Gerald R Ford CVN-78, the largest, heaviest, and most technologically advanced supercarrier in naval engineering history. Commissioned into the U.S. Navy in 2017, USS Gerald R Ford is the lead ship of the Ford class, replacing the legendary Nimitz class. Built at Newport News Shipbuilding by Huntington Ingalls Industries, it features 2 A-1B nuclear reactors providing 3 times the power of Nimitz class, enabling over 20 years without refueling. Plus, electromagnetic aircraft launch system EMALS and advanced arresting gear AAG, replacing steam tech for optimized aircraft ops. It also has dual-band radar, electromagnetic elevators for faster, safer weapons transport, and automation reducing crew by over 600 compared to Nimitz. The flight deck can deploy over 75 aircraft, including FA-18 Super Hornets, E-2D Hawkeyes, 35 Lightning IIs, and MH-60R anti-sub helicopters. Inside, it's a floating city for over 4,500 sailors, with berths, mess halls, gyms, hospitals, air traffic control centers, and modern comms networks. USS Gerald R Ford can sustain continuous ops and rapid global deployment, symbolizing U.S. naval power through firepower, tech, and worldwide reach, representing 21st century strategic superiority. No. 3. Star of the Seas. Star of the Seas is redefining cruise tourism by turning ocean voyages into premium resort and entertainment experiences, far beyond previous standards. Over 1,194 feet long, nearly 220 feet wide, and with 248,663 GT, this ship holds 7,514 passengers plus 2,350 crew, with 20 decks and 2,805 cabins. Enough to make Star of the Seas a mobile floating city amid blue seas. It boasts the largest water park at sea with 6 record-breaking slides, 7 pools, 10 hot tubs, and 8 neighborhoods for all ages, from families to adults, plus 17 free dining options, Broadway shows, live music, and nightlife, delivering a massive resort-like experience. The ship runs 7-day itineraries from Port Canaveral to the Eastern or Western Caribbean, always stopping at Perfect Day at Coco Cay Royal Caribbean's private island with beaches and adventure activities beyond scale and amenities. Star of the Seas integrates eco-friendly tech for energy optimization and reduced emissions while maintaining impressive speeds. By blending huge capacity, diverse entertainment, and modern design, Star of the Seas isn't just a cruise ship. It's an icon of the cruise industry's future, where people can enjoy the ocean in creative, convenient ways like never before. Two, OCL Spain. OCL Spain is a new icon of modern maritime transport, marking a historic milestone as Orient Overseas Container Line's first ship to surpass record-breaking capacity. It can haul over 24,188 TEUs, enough to fill a city block with containers stacked like buildings. Setting sail on its maiden voyage March 25, 2023, OCL Spain was built at Nantong Cosco KHI Ship Engineering Co., realizing bold, massive designs at 1,312 feet long, 201 feet wide, and 235,341 GT. The ship rivals skyscrapers if stood upright, capable of carrying essentials, materials, and consumer goods for millions worldwide. OCL Spain isn't just a giant hauler. It's a smart ship certified by the American Bureau of Shipping, equipped with sensor networks, structural monitoring, and data analytics software. It auto-adjusts routes, optimizes fuel, and maximizes safety for cargo and crew. Every wave or weather change is precisely calculated for smooth, efficient ops. On deck, thousands of colorful containers form a solid block. Below are powerful, eco-friendly engines meeting today's strict shipping standards. OCL Spain's true power is global connectivity. Each voyage is a trade lifeline, moving goods from Asia to Europe and the Americas. From high-tech components and heavy machinery to consumer items, sustaining the global economy's pulse. Seeing OCL Spain dock, you don't just see a freighter, you see a symbol of engineering, intelligence, and global vision in shipping. The industry now asks, after OCL Spain, will even larger, smarter container ships emerge? Or is this the new peak of the steel empire on the ocean? One, Bokeh Vanguard. Would you dare board a ship holding nearly 10,000 people like a small town? Bokeh Vanguard is one of the world's most unique heavy-lift vessels, nicknamed the silent giant of the ocean. It doesn't just cross waves, it moves massive structures that ordinary ships can't, from oil rigs and warships to aircraft carriers. Bokeh Vanguard's special ability is its semi-submersible mechanism. For huge floating loads, the crew floods ballast tanks to submerge the ship, envelop the cargo, then slowly rise, lifting hundreds of thousands of tons out of the water, ready to deliver anywhere worldwide. Built in 2012 at Hyundai Heavy Industries as Dockwise Vanguard and now owned by Boskalis, the ship is 902 feet long, 230 feet wide, with a nearly 215,278 square foot deck and max load of 121,250 short tons. The compact bridge is offset to starboard, freeing the entire space for its sole mission, transporting impossible ocean loads. In offshore ops, Bokeh Vanguard builds and moves entire rigs, cutting construction from months to days. It also safely decommissions old rigs, saving time and cost over traditional dismantling. Shell, Equinor, ExxonMobil, and others have used Bokeh Vanguard for critical tasks. Bokeh Vanguard cruises at a max 14 knots, with dynamic positioning to hold steady like staking in open ocean. Through storms or high seas, it operates reliably, proving modern engineering superiority more than transport. Bokeh Vanguard symbolizes human engineering strength and ambition, proving that, with will and tech, even colossal metal blocks can traverse oceans.